got to give a little, take a little, and let your poor heart break a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. You've got to laugh a little, cry a little, before the clouds roll by a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's the two of us, we've got the world and all its charms. And when the world is through with us, we've got each other's arms. You've got to win a little, lose a little, and always have the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's the two of us, we've got the world and all its charms. And when the world is through with us, we've got each other's arms. We've got to win a little, lose a little, and always have the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love.
For many, many years, people have been going over to England from Ireland, and they get great jobs over there. Look at Prince Philip, for example. Well, this fella wrote a song about his father, who went over to England and got the best bloody job that a man could want. He was employed as a dustman. Now, here in the United States, we call them garbage collectors. But this song says, my old man is a dustman. He wears a dustman's hat, he wears corblimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. Now here's a little story, to tell it is a must, about an unsung hero who moves away your dust and garbage. Some people make a fortune, others make a mint, but my old man don't earn that much. In fact, he's flipping skint. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat, he wears corblimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. He looks all proper dolled up in his great big hobnail boots. He has such a job to pull 'em up that he calls them daisy roots. Now folks give tips at Christmas, and some of them forget. So when he picks their bins up, he spills some on the step. Now one old man got nasty into the council wrote, next time my old man went round there, he punched him up the throat. My old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat, he wears corblimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. One day whilst in a hurry, he missed a lady's bin. He hadn't gone but a few yards when she chased after him. She cried out to him loudly in a voice right from the heart, "You missed me, am I too late?" "No, hop up on the cart." My old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat, he wears corblimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. He found a tiger's head one day nailed on a piece of wood. The tiger looked quite miserable, but I suppose he should. Just then from out a window a voice was heard to wail, "Yeah, where's me tiger's head? Other end from his tail." My old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat, he wears corblimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat.
The Duel by Eugene Field. The gingham dog and the calico cat side by side on the table sat. 'Twas 12:30, and what do you think? Nor one nor the other had slept a wink. The old Dutch clock and the Chinese plate appeared to know as sure as fate there was going to be a terrible spat. I wasn't there. I simply state what was told to me by the Chinese plate. The gingham dog went bow, wow, wow, and the calico cat replied, meow. and the air was littered an hour or so with bits of gingham and calico, while the old Dutch clock in the chimney place, up with its hands before its face, for it always dreaded a family row. Never mind, I'm only telling you what the old Dutch clock declares is true. The Chinese plate looked very blue and wailed, "Oh dear, what shall we do?" But the gingham dog and the calico cat wallowed this way and tumbled that, employing every tooth and claw in the awfulest way you ever saw. And oh, how the gingham and the calico flew. Don't fancy I exaggerate. I got my news from the Chinese plate. Next morning, where the two had sat, they found no trace of dog or cat. And some folks think unto this day that burglars stole that pair away. But the truth about the cat and pup is this: they ate each other up. Now what do you really think of that? The old Dutch clock, it told me so, and that is how I came to know.
Hi, I'm Mason Bode, and I will tell a few jokes. What is a ghost's favorite treat? I scream. How do you organize a space party? Plan it early. What time should you go to the dentist? Tooth hurty.
Hi, my name is Nancy Sullivan, and I'm going to read a poem that was written by my grandfather, Raymond Atwood, in about 1938, when the youngest of his 8 children was still a little girl. The poem is called The Little Pink Cloud, and you'll notice that I'm wearing pink, hot pink, and orange, and white. And I hope that you think this boa looks like a cloud. So, the little pink cloud. And this is for children of all ages, so gather round. A little white cloud in a deep blue sky was very unhappy and wanted to cry, because as she looked to the west, she could see a beautiful pink cloud, just as pink as could be. And she thought, why should she be so pretty and bright, while I over here am all pallid and white? And she said to herself, I'll investigate what that little pink cloud has that I haven't got. So she drifted along to the faraway sky, where the little pink cloud lay serenely on high. Good evening, she said, in a most polite way. And hasn't it been just a beautiful day? What elegant pink that becomes you so well. Just what did you do to produce it, pray tell? It is perfectly clear that you're free from all ills. Is it regular taking of vitamin pills? And the little pink cloud nodded coolly and said, My dear, is there anything wrong with your head? Don't you know that the reason I'm looking so nice is because I'm chock full of raspberry ice? At the foot of the rainbow, a giant named Herbert is giving away the most elegant sherbet. If you'll go there, he'll give you an acre or two, and besides that, I know you'll enjoy the view. So the little white cloud went searching afar for Herbert's delectable iced sherbet bar. And there, at the foot of the rainbow, she found whole mountains of sherbet just covered the ground. And she ate, till she couldn't eat more. You'd think that she'd never had sherbet before. And when she had eaten up all she could hold, she began to be very uncomfortably cold. But she thought, what a beautiful sight I must be. I'll find that pink cloud so that she too can see. I've eaten so much that I really should be much fatter and brighter and pinker than she. So she drifted on back to her little pink friend, being specially careful that she didn't bend, because she was feeling quite squeamish and crummy. with such an uncomfortable pain in her tummy. The little pink cloud looked over and said, "My dear, I should think you'd take right to your bed. Your color's not good, and you're having a chill. It looks like the jaundice. I fear that you're ill. You're so full, I'm afraid that your tummy may break. Go look at yourself in the looking-glass lake." And the little cloud hurried to look in the glass of the looking-glass lake. But alack and alas, just as plain as the nose on your face, she could see she had turned just as orange can be. So she hurried away in extreme agitation to the little pink cloud to get her explanation. The little pink cloud said, "I think that I see what the reason for all of this trouble may be. The end of the rainbow that's tasty and nice has mountains and mountains of raspberry ice. At the opposite end, at the very same time, are sherbets of orange and lemon and lime. That comical, quizzical giant named Herbert has filled you quite full of his best orange sherbet." The bright orange cloud that had tried to be pink was so angry she got even blacker than ink. And the people on earth all looked up and they said, "There's a terrible storm cloud right straight ahead." She felt so unhappy, she wished she had died. But like most little children, she just cried and cried. And down on the earth, all the little girls' mothers got rubbers and snowsuits for them and their brothers. I never would tell this if I didn't know, but down on the earth fell a bright orange snow. It covered the fields and the roofs of the houses. A man who fell down got it into his trousers. And the boys and the girls got their skis and their sleds, and even the sick ones got up from their beds. They slid and they skated and built a snowman, and a fat little fellow whose first name was Dan put some in his mouth, and he found it delicious, and everyone thought it extremely nutritious. But the poor little cloud sitting up in the sky had cried and she'd cried till she'd cried herself dry. So she thought she would go to the looking-glass lake to see what a terrible picture she'd make. Now I wouldn't say this if it wasn't right, but she had cried herself positively sparkling white. And believe it or not, she went back to see Herbert and ate just a bit of his raspberry sherbet. And often at sunset, she looks very nice with a delicate pink from the raspberry ice. The moral is plain for all children to see. Don't try to be what it's not natural to be. We can't all be pink clouds or orange or white. Whatever God made you, for you is just right.
Are you going to sing with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Woke up this morning, smiled at the rising sun. 3 little words at my doorstep, said the brachiosaurus, singing sweet song. Melodies pure and true, saying, "This is my message for you." So the hippopotamus, don't worry about a thing.
The Fool's Prayer by Edward R. Sill. The royal feast was done. The king sought some new sport to banish care, and to his jester cried, "Sir Fool, kneel now and make for us a prayer." The jester doffed his cap and bells, and stood the mocking court before. They could not see the bitter smile behind the painted grin he wore. He bowed his head and bent his knee upon the monarch's silken stool. His pleading voice arose, "O Lord, be merciful to me, a fool." No pity, Lord, could change the heart from red with wrong to white as wool. The rod must heal the sin, but Lord, be merciful to me, a fool. 'Tis not by guilt the onward sweep of truth and right, O Lord, we stay. 'Tis by our follies that so long we hold the earth from heaven away. These clumsy feet, still in the mire, go crushing blossoms without end. These hard, well-meaning hands we thrust among the heartstrings of a friend. The ill-timed truth we might have kept, who knows how sharp it pierced and stung? The words we had not sense to say, who knows how grandly they had rung? Our faults no tenderness should ask. The chastening stripes must cleanse them all. But for our blunders, oh, in shame before the eyes of heaven we fall. Earth bears no balsam for mistakes. Men crown the knave and scourge the tool that did his will. But thou, O Lord, be merciful to me, a fool. The room was hushed. In silence rose the king and sought his gardens cool, and walked apart and murmured low, "Be merciful to me, a fool."
I have a dream I hope will come true, that you'll grow to me, and I'll grow old with you. We thank the earth in the sky, we thank too. I love all you. I love all you. I love all you.
A story about my dad. Not many of you got to know my father. I had just been here about 6 months when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he died 18 days later. If I was going to give you one word to describe my dad, it would be the word gentleman. My dad was a gentleman, and he was also a gentle man in every sense of the word. Being from New Zealand, my dad kept just a hint of his accent. He was super polite with perfect diction and perfect vocabulary. You know, I didn't hear him say the word yeah until I was 14 years old. And never in my whole life did I ever hear him swear. Never. My dad loved music, and he had an expansive record collection. He played music on the phonograph most evenings, and he and my mom were known to take a twirl and dance in the living room with some of their favorites. My daddy worked in the record business for about 20 years. He worked in music production, record production, and also in distribution. Now, my mom was a great musician, and she played the piano with music, but she mainly played by ear. She had a great singing voice, and she would always entertain at the drop of a hat. My son is a fabulous pianist, and I sing also. But my dad really had no musical talents, or so we thought. So you can imagine my surprise when one night when I was visiting my parents that my mom sat down to play the piano, but it was my dad. It was my dad who stood up to sing. My daddy. I'd never heard him sing, ever. Well, he set up the song he was about to sing by saying that he had found a song that really spoke to who he was, and he wanted to sing it for us, so that when we heard it, maybe on the radio or wherever, that we would immediately think of him. Just this nice little memory. So I'm going to sing this song for you. I'm just going to sing the chorus because I think it says it all. Well, maybe not all, but for me, it's just such a wonderful example of my daddy, the gentleman, the great man. Are you ready? It's a Mac Davis tune. I'm just going to sing it a cappella. Here we go. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. Now remember, my daddy was singing these words. I must be a hell of a man. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. Yes, I'm doing the best that I can. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble by Mac Davis. Thanks, Daddy. I miss you.
Oh, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. Well, me father was an Ulsterman, proud Protestant was he. My mother was a Catholic girl, from County Cork was she. They were married in 2 churches, lived happily enough, until the day that I was born and things got rather tough. Oh, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. Baptized by Father Riley, I was rushed away by car, to be made a little orange man, me father's shining star. I was christened David Anthony, but still in spite of that, to my father I was William, while me mother called me Pat. Oh, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. With me mother every Sunday to Mass I'd proudly stroll, and after that the orange lot would try to save my soul. While both sides tried to claim me, but I was smart because I played the flute or played the harp, depending where I was. Oh, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. One day my ma's relations came around to visit me, just as my father's kinfolk were all setting down to tea. We tried to smooth things over, but they all began to fight, and me being strictly neutral, I bashed everyone in sight. Oh, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. Now my parents never could agree about my type of school. My learning was all done at home, that's why I'm such a fool. They both passed on, God rest them, but left me caught between that awful color problem of the orange and the green. Oh, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. Yes, it is the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. My father, he was orange, and me mother, she was green. Woohoo!
Okay, I'm back to tell a few more. Why did the teddy bear say no to dessert? Because he was stuffed. What did the eye say to the other eye? See you later. What kind of tree fits in your hand? A palm tree.